Hey guys, what's going on? This is Cheney 180, and
I'm playing with myself.
that was an abrupt little thing there. I'm not quite sure what happened. The intro just stopped dead in the water. Yep. All right.
Roll.
Yeah. Well, we have a very special guest tonight. We have Blake Wright, author of Toys That Time Forgot. Am I correct with that? Is that correct titling there? I don't want to mess that up.
That is the correct title. Toys That Time Forgot.
All right.
Volume 1, 2, and 3 coming.
And coming soon, 3.
Nice. All right. Unfortunately, the Fallen Fett cannot be with us tonight. He has basically expended all of his energy this week searching for McDonald's High C Orange. What is it? Lava Burst?
Lava Burst.
Yeah.
The return of Orange Lava Burst.
Yes.
He had to go Mimi's because he couldn't find his Orange Lava Burst yet.
He has been looking all week long, and of no avail. He just nothing yet. So he had to go to sleep. He was a very tired man. So we will try to hold down the reins without him. We'll do our best.
I don't have faith in myself.
Yeah. And I forgot. See, I've already derailed the show. You're listening to another episode of They're Not Dolls.
Episode 216.
216. All right. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's move along here, Adam.
Oh boy. I know what time it is.
How are our chat amigos doing?
All right. What's up, guys? If you haven't already, go hit that thumbs up button, please. Like, come on. You know the deal by now. And click that little subscribe button. The little bell next to it, you can click all so you get all notifications. So whenever we're going live on the Quickie Minis or the full episodes like tonight, it will tell you. It's great. It's great how that works. So just do it, please. Cheney will appreciate it.
Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it.
That's valid.
Just do it.
Words to live. Just do it. I'm gonna
Just
get that
do
as
it.
Old English tattooed in my chest. Yeah.
I love it.
I don't think it would surprise anyone if I had Old English just do it tattooed. I don't know. Whatever.
No.
Anyway, let's check in with the chat amigos. How's it going? First one in there, the Wrestling Hound. Woo!
Woo!
We got Knucklehead and Action Figure Expert and Santo 1414, Dark Bulb, Action Figure Boncho, Dorian G, Thundercrow is in there. Some guy named Adam Van Wickler is in there. Prime to the First. What's up, man?
What's up?
Welcome back. He's a guest from what was it, last week or the week before? I have no sense of time.
Yeah.
It's
all
like
gone.
Groundhog's Day.
Yep.
Like literally every day.
Every day is
we
exactly
got
the same.
Ryan Carper in there, Just Jeff 45, Soul Brother, Born to Hula, Salvador Sandoval, Dorian G, Evan Moyer, Johnny Number Cinco, Nix Figs, Victor Simmons, Papa Schmitty. Someone just wrote and it jumped. See, you guys messing me up. Just don't write while I'm saying your names. Come on. Tyrone Wested. I said Papa Schmitty, I think. Oxmeat Pete, Renee Garcia, Silicious Crumb, Mr. William, Soul Brother, Enrique Salazar, Fight in Code Names. I like that one.
Yeah,
and
that's a cool name.
Chamba just checked in.
All
and
right.
everyone, go check out Chamba's Instagram page. His art is awesome. Someday,
I
I
agree.
hope to work with you, kind sir.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. Chat Migos. All of you, please go hit that thumbs up now
And share with all your friends. Let them know we're here.
Oh, that's the part I forgot. See, that's why Ernie needs to be here.
Yep.
I did not remind everyone. Go share on Instagram, Facebook. Tell your friends. Tell your family. We're live. And
we're going to be talking about the toys that time forgot here.
Indeed. Oh,
Yeah.
Our moderator, Urban Spidey, has joined us.
Oh, nice.
Welcome, Adam number 2 / Spidey number 2.
Mm-hmm. So Blake, can you give our listeners here a general idea of who you are and what you do, sir?
Yeah, sure thing. My name is Blake Wright. I am currently in Houston, Texas, which if you're anywhere near a news program, you probably know we've been in the news a lot this week, battling with some wicked winter weather that we're not really used to down this way. So I'm actually currently not at my house. I am without power at my house. So I'm at my wife's best friend's house, doing the doing the Toy Amigos thing.
You're a champion for that.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
You got to do what you got to do. What you got to do, right?
The fact that and this is happening during your Kickstarter campaign too.
Oh yeah,
I can only imagine the added stress.
Yeah, no, it's not ideal, but there you go. Nothing over the past 12, 13 months has been ideal, but
nope.
In any case, I'm a journalist by trade. I, have a degree in journalism. I've been practicing journalism for over 25 years, mostly covering news out of the energy business. About 7 years ago, I started down a track to become a bit of a toy news guy. I launched an online
Little Plastic Men.
I launched an online magazine in 2014 called Little Plastic Men.
I had to say it just because I wanted to make sure I had the cred that I knew you way back then.
Yeah. So I did that.
I'm the worst at interjecting, Blake. I'm sorry. I swear it's only because I wanted to gush over Little Plastic Men. Little Plastic Men, you're going to describe it better than I will, but it was like an internet magazine, for lack of a better way to describe it. You'll describe it better, but it filled my heart because I think we lost Toy Fair magazine in 2010, 2011, thereabouts.
Yeah,
and I think it was it was a couple years later that you did Little Plastic Men, and you had a few issues and other things spun out of it. But I just want to say I was a fan even back then. I wanted something to take over for Toy Fair. So tell us about Little Plastic Men. Sorry.
Yeah, so we did. So I did Little Plastic Men as a quarterly during 2014. So we did 4 issues, and in each of those issues, there was a recurring column called "Prototypically Unproductive," and that was the column about unproduced toys. So we did, like I said, 4 of them. So there was Sectors Series 2 was one of them. Earthworm Jim Series 2 was one of them. The end of the sale of soda toys was one of them. And Palisades Sesame Street. Now, all 4 of those were basically expanded upon and put in volume 1 of the book. But once I stopped doing Little Plastic Men, I only did it for that 1 year. This is kind of how the book came to be, at least the first one. I started getting a lot of feedback from people who were sad to see it go and really wanted to try to figure out a way for the magazine to keep going. And financially and time-wise, it just wasn't going to happen. But I was humbled by the outpouring. So I said, okay, let me do 1 more issue, and it'll be all unproduced toys because everybody liked that column a lot. So I started down a path of researching that was going to be just LPM number 5. And as I started digging and talking with sources and, combing the dark corners of the internet, I came to the conclusion that it deserved to be a lot more than just a PDF thrown up on a website. Someone should really do a book on this subject. So, not really seeing anybody taking up the mantle to do that, I dummied together about 20 pages on an iPad. And I went to Toy Fair in February of 2015. And I walked around to some of my contacts and basically handed them the iPad and asked them to talk me out of doing this. And nobody did. Everybody was really kind of excited about the prospect. So when I came back and I told my wife, hey, it looks like I'm writing a book, which is something I had never done before. And then over the next 2 years, I traveled extensively. I did a ton of interviews. I took a ton of pictures and a ton of my trusty flatbed scanner and took a ton of scans of 2D, art and memos and handwritten notes and sketches and you name it. And 2 years later, out popped volume 1, and I couldn't be more excited about it.
Nice. So, are you a collector as well? Are you collecting current lines, or do you collect vintage stuff? Or
And I've always been kind of a catch and release type collector. I'm a
okay,
more of a thrill of the hunt kind of guy. I love finding stuff, but after I possess it for a while, I kind of think I need to let it go and on to somebody else who would also enjoy it. But I have been a collector for many years. Once Star Wars relaunched in the mid '90s, I was all over that. I was a 20-something-year-old with discretionary income, so I had a Star Wars room in my house for a long time.
nice.
And I jumped in, and once that, I told the story not that long ago where it was back, I guess, right at the beginning of Power of the Force relaunch, 95, 96, maybe a year after. I decided I was going to go back and get a loose, complete set of the vintage figures.
Nice.
And at that time, I had a friend who was a dealer who knew a lot, who had a lot of connections in order to get some pretty nice specimens, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to give him $1,000, and he put together a complete loose set of Star Wars
Wow.
vintage for me.
Ernie
You can't-
is gonna
you can't-
like poop in his pants.
You can't even get 4 of the last 17
No.
for $1,000 now.
That's
No.
insane.
Yeah, and that's everybody. We're talking yak face, blue snag, the whole 9 yards.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that wasn't that long ago, gentlemen. It really wasn't.
Yeah. No, that it's funny that you bring up that line, because if it wasn't for that line, like, I don't think I would have really gotten into Star Wars. Like that Power of the Force 2 line.
The 95 line, yeah.
Yeah. That, because I'd watched it before and everything, but it was really that line and that whole launch for Shadows of the Empire and everything that just pulled me in and like really piqued my interest. And I was like, okay, I've seen these movies, but like, let me watch them again and just kind of like, look at them through a different, a different scope or whatnot. And it pulled me in, man. I got sucked into, the original trilogy, and it wasn't too long after that they came out with the special editions. They announced the prequels, and here we are now, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I was 8 years old in May of '77. So that was just perfect for me.
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars was, just kind of took over my life for the next, 6-7 years. I had a lot of vintage toys when I was a kid, but slowly but surely you grow out of that. I started playing baseball, started talking to girls, and then,
You were cooler than me. I just stayed playing with toys. I still have never seen a girl naked.
Yeah. So
Shane's mad now. Whoops.
what? No, I'm not mad. I mean, that's a sad thing. That's a very sad thing. Why would I be mad about that? Like, you should probably get that taken care of.
It's crazy because I have a 7-year-old too.
Yeah.
I was going to
that
say,
work?
I was wondering about that particular.
Yeah.
I don't know. Math.
That was the mind-boggling part for me. I'm like, oh wow, okay.
I like I'm gonna give Blake a hard time tonight. I've known him for quite a while now. I got to see you a year ago in person at New York Toy Fair.
Yeah.
I can't believe that feels like eons ago at this point.
It was like 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, it feels.
And it was almost exactly 12 months ago.
Feels like multiple years, but we did get to hang out in person and talk for a while, which was great. And I've bugged Blake about this for a while because I slept on the first Kickstarter campaign. My excuse is I think I thought that I had backed it, and then it turns out that I didn't, and it sold out everywhere. Like impossible to get. So I've been bugging Blake. I was like, come on, you need to reprint volume 1. I can't wait for you to tease a little bit about that. But I do have my volume 2 right here. That is actually, it's a little bit worn because I kept it on the nightstand for a long time, flipped through it. I have my own personal favorites out of this volume, but one of the things I would love to hear from you is maybe your favorite from volume 1, favorite from volume 2, and if you're feeling like it, maybe a hint at a favorite from volume 3. But I know you got to keep some secrets. So
yeah, no, I do need to keep a few secrets. But let me let me look. Volume 1 will probably be easier than volume 2. I mean, there's a lot of good content, but my favorite from volume 1 is probably the Kroll line from Knickerbocker Toys, just because I had no idea that existed.
I mean, there's a lot of people that don't even know that movie exists.
Yeah, and that movie was always.
Did you just say the Crow?
No, Kroll.
Oh, okay. It was like
K-R-U.
Very Conan, basically.
Oh, okay, okay,
not.
okay.
I think there was a Kevin Sorbo version of Kroll.
No, that was Kull.
Oh, that was Kull. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's Kroll. K-R-U-L-L. Yeah.
So like Dave Grohl, but with a K.
Yeah, kind of. But this was the movie. It came out in '83. It's like Liam Neeson was in it, but he wasn't a star. He was a side guy. But it was, sword and sorcery meets Star Wars. It had a lot of very toyetic stuff in it. It had, soldiers that looked kind of like stormtroopers. There was a Cyclops. There was horses that had fire spitting out of their hooves. I mean, it was perfect for toys. And being 1983, you would think this has to have toys in it or toys for it. But, nothing ever surfaced at the time, only to come to find out later, doing the research for volume 1, that Knickerbocker Toys had the license for it. They had 10 figures prototyped, ready to go. They had a play set under development on paper. They also had, and the Kroll is most notably known for its weapon, which was the glaive, which was like a spinning, rotating knife kind of deal, almost like a boomerang with knives on it.
That's what I have under my bed to fight off intruders. Yeah,
there you go. And so they had one of those they were going to make, and they were going to, do these other things. But it turns out that, the movie, the reports back from the production that was happening in the UK were not positive on the movie as it was being rushed towards the finish line. And so ultimately, Knickerbocker decided not to follow through with the line. And then subsequently, the company was bought pretty quickly after that by Hasbro.
And people, in volume 2, you've got Knickerbocker did the Lord of the Rings line.
Right. And a lot of people didn't know that there was a
additional figure.
There was one figure that was half sculpted that they didn't put out. And a lot of people were surprised to learn that. And that's got a really funny story behind it, because I had the photo for that particular figure, very early on.
Buy the book. Don't just screen cap my little thing. Buy the book, guys. Come on.
So that figure I saw while I was putting together volume 1. I was doing the story with Knickerbocker about the Mysterians, that the chapter that's in volume 1 about the Transformers before Transformers. And the guy I was visiting had this figure, this partially sculpted figure, and he goes, "I think this is he couldn't remember. I think it's Lord of the Rings. I don't know." And at the time I hadn't seen that Bashki movie in I don't know how long. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't put together. I was looking at a half of a Viking figure.
Yeah.
I was like, I said, I don't think that's Lord of the Rings. I said, but I'll take some pictures of it. So I took some pictures of it because he said, I don't think this was produced. So I'm like, okay, great. So I sat on that photograph for almost 2 years, not knowing what the hell it was. And then literally, as total serendipitous thing, I was on YouTube or something, and I saw a still from that movie. And there was the whole cast. There was Aragorn and
toy ones.
And then there was Boromir.
Oh wow.
And he looked like a freaking Viking wearing furry shorts. And I, oh my God, that's that figure. And so I went and dug in my archives, and sure enough, bam, bam, there it is. A missing Lord of the Rings figure from Knickerbocker. I had no clue at the time that I had had that for that long and not known what it was.
So I feel horrible for not having volume 2 like Adam here, but I will be getting it for sure. Did you cover also the lost, like, what was it, Star Wars line that they had wanted to make while they were waiting for the movie?
So yeah, episode so the first book has the second series of Ewoks and droids that were unproduced.
Mm-hmm.
So volume 1 has that, and it also has a little bit of the saga continues, the story continues, which is the thing that Kenner pitched
Right.
to that Kenner pitched to Lucasfilm after 95 to try to keep the line alive.
Mm-hmm.
So that some of that material is in volume 1. Volume 2, the Star Wars chapter, is all about the mid 90s pitch, which was to when Hasbro lost the license because they were negligent in paying the minimum payment that was due Lucasfilm each year to keep that license in perpetuity. Because once Hasbro bought Kenner, the Kenner guys were just like, whatever. Their minds were on other things. It was a dead sci-fi franchise.
Right.
They didn't really have, at the time, there was no public plans for Lucas to ever revisit that.
Right.
So they let it lapse by not cutting a $10,000 check or something very minuscule like that.
Oh, wow.
So ultimately, Kenner had Lucas over a barrel for the first round for almost all the vintage toys. Well, now it was the maker's turn. He could put them back over the barrel if they wanted the license to do the prequel toys. And so in 97, I think, the summer of 97, he basically invited companies to bid on the license for the Master Toy license for Star Wars again.
Wow.
And so ultimately there were 4 companies that he invited to the ranch. It was Hasbro, Mattel, Playmates, and Galoob, because at the time Hasbro and Galoob were separate. And a lot of people say those other companies were just a stalking horse. They were always going to give it to Hasbro, but the companies pitched their hearts out and they put up some fairly interesting concepts. Because if anybody knows anything about pitch stuff, pitch is not necessarily the product. You're not pitching the product you're going to make. You're blowing it out. You're going way over the top on things just to show your capacity. Your capacity for what you can do. So a lot of these pitch pieces were, totally outlandish with lights and sounds and all kinds of way too, large scale stuff.
The Playmate stuff looks particularly great.
Yeah, and I was fortunate enough to come across some of the Playmate stuff.
Oh, wow.
And that's in volume 2.
Yeah.
All right.
So you get to see what you get
I was holding it up, but get the book. It's you'll be surprised looking at the Playmate Star Wars stuff that they didn't go with Playmates, because especially when you think about what Hasbro did put out with the super buff figures and everything, it's the Playmate stuff was high standards for that time for sure.
Well, I mean, when you think about the detail that they put into the sculpt on all those Ninja Turtle figures, they didn't, a lot of it didn't get painted, but if you go back and you look at a lot of those Playmates Turtles figures, there's an amazing amount of detail there, and they rocked that line till the wheels fell off.
That's mostly Varner Studios, I believe, handled the lion's share of that sculpt work. And Blake, I know you probably those guys and have visited, correct?
Yeah. So between Steve's shop there in LA and Scott Hinsey's shop up in NorCal, so that's Anaglyph Studios. Between those two, that's pretty much every vintage Ninja Turtle.
Wow.
Went through those 2 shops.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So on your journeys for the first book, what was some of the most exciting stuff for you? Or maybe some of the weirdest stories that you may have about, interacting with people to get to talk to people to get, the scoop on stuff or the information you were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I traveled a ton for volume 1. So we were, I would go out to LA, I would go to NorCal, I would go to New England, I would go to Ohio, just all over the place trying to hunt down, old hands that used to work on this stuff. Cause I really wanted to get the stories from the people that were in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this, when you start talking about 80s toys in particular, if you were 30 years old making toys in the 80s, you're 70 now.
Yeah.
And so it was important to me to get to as many of those people as I could before we lose those stories forever.
Yeah, they're gone after that. They're completely gone.
So, one of my favorite people that I met on that journey was a sculptor by the name of Bill Merklin. Now, Bill, by name, is well known outside of G.I. Joe circles, probably.
Okay.
Now, Bill is an artist. He's a painter, and he was also a sculptor. But he started in military miniatures, so he was very good at fine detail on small form sculptures. He basically sculpted freelance for a while in the toy business. He did some stuff for LJN. He did some stuff for Hasbro, but that was after he got the other gig. He did a few. Oh, he also did the some of the holograms for Hasbro for the Visionaries line.
I love those.
But he, what he did, he's also the guy, I believe he's the man responsible for the Dove hologram that's on everybody's Visa cards.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
You know that little dove that's on your Visa card?
Yeah.
I believe,
that's
if I'm
one of his.
remembering correctly, that's a Bill Merklin.
Dude, that's like holograms are like magic. I don't understand how any of that works. But like Visionaries, that line, like, because they're like slightly upsized G.I. Joes. That line was my jam because G.I. Joes had all the articulation I wanted. And then they did that. And then they did it again with Cops and Crooks, like upscaling G.I. Joe level articulation. It's like, those were my favorite lines.
So the thing with Bill was he did half the Kroll line. So he still had the Torque Wheel figure or a casting of it. And he had some images of some of the other figures that he had done for the line. So I got to know him really well. We talked. And then basically the way the story goes, and this is the story that's actually in volume 1, is that he did half of the sculpts for Krull. When they didn't make the toys, he still got paid. But when Knickerbocker got bought by Hasbro, the vault at Knickerbocker basically transferred to Hasbro. And, they put it in their vault and it just sits there, what have you. So one day an art director at Hasbro was tinkering around in the vault and he came across these Krull figures. And he really dug the detail because these were sculpted 1-to-1. So they were, 4-inch figures.
Oh, wow.
And he really dug the detail on them. So he set out to try to figure out who the sculptors were that did the work. And it turned out, that half of it was Bill, and the other half was a man by the name of Ron Highnote, who unfortunately passed away because he was also a military miniature sculptor, but he worked with lead a lot.
Whoa.
And he actually ended up passing away of lead poisoning, but or complications from lead poisoning.
It's okay because I know all of my fellow toy makers these days. We do all the 3D printing, and I think that there's probably a whole lot of fumes and dangerous chemicals, and you never know. I won't be hitting 70, guys. Get your stories out of me now.
Yeah. So anyway, when this art director at Hasbro found these Krull sculpts, he hunted down Bill. Gave him a phone call and said, hey, I found these. These are really nice portraits, especially. He said, would you come down and take a meeting with me? And maybe we can, talk about you doing some work for Hasbro. And he was like, yeah, sure. Gig's a gig, right? And
Yeah.
we're talking, this is the mid 80s. So it turns out he goes, takes a meeting. The art director likes him, says, okay, well, we'll throw you some work. So they start throwing him some work. Well, Bill Merklin, between 86 and 94, whenever the line was, probably sculpted over 60, maybe 70 G.I. Joe portraits.
Nice.
Wow.
Of the Real American Hero line. And he got that job because of his work on Crawl.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. So
I
that's
owned a ton of his work then.
Yeah. No, a lot of people did. And a lot of people, and he's kind of a faceless name that's just floated around out there, but he's a
Well, thank you for, keeping him, like this. I mentioned our guest last week was Jason from Spiro Toys. I just remembered that. So we do it is Groundhog's Day. But I was talking to Jason last week about my love of books. Like I am so jealous and in awe of stuff like this because I feel like we all love toys, but my parents, friends, family members, everyone don't understand this stuff, but everyone understands a good book, and like the stories behind the toys, like it's like, yeah, these things are going to last forever or be in a landfill somewhere, but like a book is it's eternal, like it's going to be around forever, and you're keeping those stories, and like I love it. I'm a big fan, and I can't wait to get volume 1 at some point.
Well, it's also cool too because he's putting a face to something that no one ever knew. Like a lot of people, they don't get to hear about the people that helped create all this stuff. Like,
well, it's like you saw like some companies would do the whole like we're gonna put credits on package. Art Asylum, I think, was one of the big ones that did it.
Art
like
Asylum
Digger
was one of the big ones.
Yeah, Digger was like all about it because he was like he's a character and he wanted people to know who's behind making toys. So like he did it. I know Diamond still kind of does it here and there, but so many companies they'll do it and then it's like falls off. Because it's just like it's not what it's about. It's about big corporations for the most part, and it's like no, there are people behind all these things.
Yeah, and when you think about the fact that if you put your heart and soul into a line for let's say 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, 12 months, via drawings or via sculpting or whatever, and then that line doesn't make it.
Yeah.
There's so many sad stories.
I mean, like imagine me as a journalist writing a year's worth of features, and then someone at the end of the year going, "No,
we're
not going to use any of these.
Those are never going to see the light of day."
Yeah, giant bummer.
I understand that at the time it's just a job and you're still getting a paycheck or whatever, but on some level that's got to be devastating.
Oh yeah, no doubt, and it still it happens all the time. Like this
sure.
stuff, literally on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
which is great for volume 4, 5, 6, 7, and on for you.
Well, I mean, we were lucky enough to have David Vonner come on and show off that Batman. That
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that Batman that these guys worked on, man, and that Batman figure was amazing looking, and he said, hey, we have the ability to do something like this. We can make this, and we could make Batman figures that would be better than anything else, anything else out there right now. You've got your definitive Batman right here. And they just went, yeah, okay, cool. That was it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's tons and tons and tons of stories of.
It's a very common tale.
Like that Hasbro has like vaults of this stuff, and Mattel does too. It's like they literally have tons.
If they were smart, they would each of them would open up museums.
Yeah,
that would be the ideal thing. Yeah,
take that stuff and actually make
in
There's
Rhode
got to
Island.
be some, there's got to be a little place in the headquarters they can.
Exactly. They have
corner
like
off.
little stuff on display, but there's way more. It could be super impressive. And like
Yeah, it really could.
easily a full museum from each company. Like they could do it.
Oh yeah.
Charge $5 to get in. Come on, let's do this.
That would
Come
be
on,
a stop for me. Like anytime I went out there, or even something here, down in Southern California, they can make something, like anywhere.
El Segundo Mattel Museum. They should get on
There
it
you
too.
go.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, thinking about, well, it wouldn't go far because that's their own private property, but I mean, us as, the toy community, we could, probably start to raise our voices a little bit and be like, hey man, this stuff, just scream the words of Indiana Jones. This stuff belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
I
mean, here's the deal. Mattel could definitely do it like El Segundo, but here, ready, I'm going to upset some people now.
Uh-oh.
But then what other reason do you need to ever go to Rhode Island? Like Hasbro's museum would be like literally the only draw in Rhode Island. Just as for note, I'm from Long Island, so it's like, it's okay. Like, I'm allowed to say that.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
Gotcha.
I'll probably get in trouble. I'll get an email.
Yep. All right.
I think so. Blake, one of my favorites from volume 2, and I had a bunch, but like there is the big sob story that I'll get into in a second from volume two here, but like Battletoads, Battletoads, that was a video game that was so near and dear to me for some reason. I don't know why, but it was so frustratingly hard as a video game. Like, I don't think once you get by that first level where the ding dongs going back and forth, that's the official name, guys, the ding dong. And then it was like the motorcycle thing that you're jumping and the things are coming up and moving and that game was impossible, but I loved the design of the Battletoads. Like, I was like, these are the coolest things. So I kept playing the game over and over, dying over and over. I think there was a cartoon too, right? Like, more
there
about
was.
it. And like those toys looked cool. They looked like Ninja Turtle toys, basically.
Yeah. So that was Tiger Electronics had that license. So they were, at the time, they had put out Inspector Gadget and Captain Planet, maybe. There was another.
I think it's Captain Planet, I believe, because it's mentioned in their chapter.
Yeah. So basically the reason they didn't go forward with that, at least the one that I was able to glean from talking with some former employees, was that they only had they were a small company. They only had a finite amount of money to invest each year, and Captain Planet had done well, so they were going to continue that, and they just didn't see a return in the cards for Battletoads if they had to expand their investment that particular year.
So sad too.
They opted not to do it.
This chapter, the Battletoads chapter, I mean, like, guys, like, you, like, if you're into like old school, like the episodes that we had where Jerry Macaluso came on here and was showing us the old wax sculpts images and stuff that didn't come out, some stuff that did come out, like, these books are filled with that. Blake literally drove around with camera, scanner, doing like literally documenting all of this stuff. So, just in the Battletoads chapter, you get concept artwork, you got wax sculpt image, all for these toys that never happened. And it's like, it's just amazing to look at. I mean, like, the words are beautiful too, Blake. Don't get me wrong. You write beautifully, but
there's not
so
very
many
words
pictures.
Yeah, there's not very many words in either one of those books, and that's by design, because I wanted to, let the art, speak for itself a lot of times.
Well, it's crazy because like what you're talking about how it's like, oh, they had to devote budgets and everything. When you look through just the Battletoads chapter, there's so much concept artwork for play sets, vehicles, other characters, and it's like they did sculpt like I think 5 or 6 at least by my count, and the sculpt's great. The concept artwork's so cool, and as an adult looking at it, and as someone who liked Battletoads, I'm like, man, I can't believe that other people didn't see the potential there and it didn't make it, because like I feel like this is a line where it's like just like, you know, Bucky Air or something caught on like this. If it's in the stores back in the day, I think it would have sold.
Oh, it would have caught on. There's no doubt about it. I mean, with how hot Turtles was at the time, I mean, that would have been the next logical thing. People would have been all, oh, well, I'm going to get those too. Because I remember being a kid, my mom's friends' kids that I was around quite a bit, they were all into Battletoads, and they had, you know, some of the Battletoads merchandise that was out there, that was available, and they would have ate stuff like that up, man. You know, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where they caught the license was caught in between a company who only had a limited amount of funds to redirect towards new product in the coming year, and they opted to go ahead and fund what they knew was already successful.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's you gotta pick and choose sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So Blake, I know you write a lot of stuff, but like one of the ones that also stuck out to me is in the Toxic Crusaders line. There was like a little like anecdote story that like, if you remember, you could share. If not, I will just say it. But like about the worst, it was a role play item that was ever presented, and I just I love it because it seems hilarious to me. If you remember, right?
Yeah. So Toxic Crusaders was a line that Playmates did in the mid '90s.
I bought it.
Yeah, basically, there was a cartoon that was based off of the Toxic Avenger movie, but they cleaned it up considerably. They made it
no boobies,
and they made it an ecological tale about fighting pollution. So basically, when they were doing the toy line, they did a lot of very colorful figures. They did a few, I think, vehicles for that line, but they had aspirations beyond that as well. There was a second series sculpted. There were more vehicles planned. But the one thing that did actually make it into the Toy Fair catalog for the first year, never made it into production, was an actual role-playing mop.
I remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah. Which... it's funny because Carl Aronian, who is the head marketing guy still at Playmates, that was his apparently happened under his watch, and he caught a lot of stuff for that particular mop for that particular role playing.
I can only imagine. Yeah,
and
his coworkers and just being like. Mop guy.
And I took great joy in taking Volume 2 to Toy Fair in 2017, grabbing him, pulling him aside, flipping open to that page, and letting him know that I got his mop in that book. And he looked at me, they looked me dead in the eye and said some very unpleasant things, but with a smile on his face the entire time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, the mop. I will never let Carl live down the mop.
I don't think anyone will. I mean, there's when you do something like that, people don't forget.
Yeah,
a mop toy.
Yeah,
makes perfect sense. So my biggest sob story, and I know it led to a ton of content for you, is Palisades. I was a giant Palisades toys fan, and particularly like the Muppets line, and Volume 2, you've got some great pictures of Muppet stuff that was upcoming. Like they did I still own all my Palisade stuff, and even I have the backstage playset. You know, I'm
Right. I had it
humble
one time
brag.
myself.
Yeah,
Well,
it's amazing. The Palisades playsets were amazing. The Muppets figures were amazing, and then they were going to go. You show Muppet Babies, which I'm like, Muppet
yeah.
Babies. And the sculpts are beautiful. The pictures in the book, guys. Get the book.
Even that
Muppet Babies.
the kitchen playset is still, people still hunt for that thing.
Yeah, I have that too. I have all of the playsets. I don't have the Pigs in Space playset. That's the only one.
Yeah.
But I have all the
that stuff that came out of Palisades during that time was just immaculate, and that was pretty much 100% Ken Lilly. I mean, that guy was a machine putting that stuff out, and he was extremely meticulous, almost to a fault, because he wanted those things to look like they were made of material.
Yeah.
When they were actually, I want this to look like felt, but made out of plastic, and somehow they did it.
Yeah. Beautiful toys. Like to this day, they stand up. We worked on.
Nailed it.
I think that there were some Palisades employees involved with the Diamond Select toys that came out a few years ago, and Gentle Giant did some of the digital sculpting. And me being a giant Muppets fan, like I brought my Palisades toys into work to give to the digital sculptors to use as reference for sculpting new articulated Muppets, because it's like the toys the Palisades made were even better than some of the reference that you could get online.
Right.
So it was hard to beat.
It was extremely detailed line that, while had a really good run, still, kind of lapsed prematurely. Mainly because, it was hard at the time for them to, they were caught up in the whole Music Land, Media Play, Tower Records, bankruptcies and such. Those were large outlets for them. They were just getting that line into Target when the whole thing kind of collapsed. Oh. So, and they only got a little bit of it into Toys R Us. They got some of the play sets into Toys R Us.
Some of it made it to Toys R Us. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was just bad timing, and a lot of catastrophic events happening at once that kind of sent that company, the whole company, into a spiral towards the end.
So let's go ahead and kind of track ourselves here, because we're already about an hour in, to get to talk about Volume 3. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to ask you, about some of your favorites from Volume 1, some of your favorites from Volume 2, and then maybe we can start to kind of hint around maybe about Volume 3, if you like.
Sure. So, favorite from Volume 1. Well, I already said the Krull stuff, so I won't go back to that. Okay. Let me look really quick. I have these set up to look at. If I can find the right pages. I think kind of as an outside kind of bit of weirdness, from Volume 1, there was a line that was simply called Sea Creatures. Mm-hmm. What makes the line so interesting to me, and it's not one that had a huge story behind it, because I wasn't able to find a ton of reference on it beyond the people that actually worked on the sculpting. But that was a line from the mid 80s that Sanrio was actually going to produce.
Oh, wow.
Now, Sanrio is Hello Kitty.
Yeah.
not boys action figures.
No, not at all. Yeah.
and these things were, articulated. They looked like they belonged in the Masters of the Universe universe.
How did you come across those?
The sculptor who did the work. I was at his house in LA, and we were talking about other things, and he just happened to mention this thing he did for Sanrio, and I was like, you mean Hello Kitty? And he's like, no, it was a boys thing. And so he was able to pull out some of the art and pictures of the sculpts that he'd done. And these were amazing. I mean, obviously they were based on aquatic themes. I mean, there was an octopus type guy that had a kind of the Davy Jones looking head with the tentacles down, and his head was hollow, so you could fill it with water and squeeze his head and water would come out of his chest. And so there was, all of them had a play value. There was a lobster guy with a switch on his back that he would snap his claw. There was a piranha guy that had moving jaws, same thing. And it was just totally fascinating, and it looked so good for the time. And ultimately, like I said, not a lot of story ever surfaced around it because it was just hard to get a hold of anybody from Sanrio back in the 85. I had no idea.
Right. Yeah, that would know about this.
That would know about it. No one currently, in the current group knew of the people that I reached out to.
Okay.
Is it possible for me to share something?
Yeah, I was actually trying to, Google image some of this stuff. There's like a reptilian looking guy here. There's what do we got? An octopus looking guy. And you said the head did pop off on that.
Yeah, you could fill that with water, and he's got like a center, a hole in his chest. Yeah, so there's Octo and Coral, who's the coral guy. Piranha, Hammerhead, who's the hammerhead shark looking fella.
Yeah, let
And
me go ahead and bring these up real quick, and then we can try and it gets the meeting window gets a little funky when we screen share, but I'll go through it. It's fine. It's not a big deal. But let me show these ones real quick, and just so we know that we're possibly on the same page. So are these what you were talking about?
So we get a nice delay here, Cheney.
I know. Yeah, from 1985.
So that's the eel.
Okay.
Because some of this stuff was sold at auction. Yeah, that's Rich Rowland's stuff. So yeah, that's the sculptor. He did that work.
Okay.
But you see how cool those? I mean, picture.
Yeah, those look awesome.
Yeah, so that's 85. So think about He-Man.
Yeah.
Think about putting those in his universe.
Yeah. No, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it looks like it was just made for it.
Yeah. No,
really
that
amazing.
like if for to the I guess untrained eye is what I'm trying to say. If you looked at like just breezing through, you'd be like, oh, that's a He-Man guy. Cool. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's
so there were 6 characters, I believe, that were sculpted for this. And but ultimately, again, and I don't know the reason why they weren't. Okay, that's Baron von Kuter is his name.
Yes!
I am not kidding.
Dude,
no, it
that
says it.
Is,
it says
we
it
have
right
the Butter
there.
Baron. Can I be his arch nemesis, Baron von Kuter, from here on out?
Oh my god!
He actually
my name.
Yeah, this figure also came with like a little cape that he wore back behind his. On his back. But yeah, so that's the kind of, you can see that snap and claw, and he had probably a lever on his back that that would move that snap and claw. So they all had little play mechanisms like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I never knew about these. These are so cool.
Yeah, so those are in volume 1. That was a line that
looks like a C-3PO baby, whatever that thing was.
That was from Crash Test Dummies.
I was just gonna say that's a Crash Test Dummy baby. Yeah.
It's like baby C-3PO.
Yeah, I think moving forward here, they had a color. Unfortunately, it's a small shot here of eel. So he's supposed to be all green and yellow. Yeah,
there were Polaroids of some of these. Yeah, that's him. The paint sample. The paint samples actually don't look very good when you compare it to the raw because they lose a little bit of the sculpting in the paint apps, as most paint apps do these days, unfortunately.
So Blake, this is from volume 1 of the Toys That Time Forgot, which is currently out of print. Is there going to be some kind of an option for me to maybe get volume 1 at some point, Blake?
Uh, did you go to the current Kickstarter and watch the video all the way to the end?
Oh, you know I did.
Okay, well then you probably know the answer to your question. But I'll go ahead for the benefit of others and say that yes, this year we are going to reprint Volume 1.
Woohoo! And also, I don't know, you were probably about to say it, but I'm going to interrupt because that's what I do.
Yeah.
If you have not bought Volume 2 yet, you do have some reward levels in Kickstarter for Volume 3 where you can get Volume 2 and Volume 3 like right now. Like you could
together,
go pledge and get Volume 2 and Volume 3, and then you can, like me, backtrack and get Volume 1 when it gets reprinted.
So we limited those sets to 50, and I don't think there's very many left. There's like 7 left last time.
There you go. Hurry.
So if you want to get the combo, because what's going to end up happening is 1 and 3 are going to land this year, and 2 is going to be the one that ends up being short.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have mine.
Right.
You can still pick up. I know someone said the other day you could pick up number 2 on Big Bad Toy Store right now.
Big Bad has about 7 copies left. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can still actually pick it up directly through me as well. I still have copies.
Okay.
Boom. Hit up Blake, guys. Toys that time forgot.
If you need Volume 2 in your life ASAP, the thing to do is either go to Big Bad or hit me up on Facebook, and it's just a easy PayPal transaction, and we'll get you one.
Nice.
Beep boop beep boop 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 beep.
Yeah. Just like that, Adam.
Yeah, I mean that's how I PayPal. I don't know how you guys. I make beeping noises while I'm sending people money. Doesn't everyone?
That's crazy. Yeah. These names for this line here, they're even like the choral. Like that's so.
Yeah, they're not very Yeah, it's very He-Man, not very imaginative.
Yeah,
choral.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Like choral.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like dad jokes.
Yeah. So Volume 2, I mean, there's a lot that I really dig about Volume 2. And my gut tells me I should pick The Last Starfighter because I love that film. And that
was such a great movie.
And it was hard. A lot of people thought those prototypes would never be seen again. And to be able to track down, 6 of the 12 was quite a
pictures in the book are awesome.
Quite a win for me.
Yeah.
And it gives me a glimmer of hope that the other 6 are still out there somewhere. But I'm not going to pick that one. I am going to pick Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys.
Oh, that's one I'm going to shout out someone who's not in Chat Migos now, but I know does usually listen to the show. That is a line that Inhaled Farts would love. Inhaled Farts is like an Instagram guy who loves him some monkeys. And like that line, like when I saw that in the book, I was like, this is like right up his alley. It's like what he wants to make as a toy line.
Yeah, so Captain Simeon was a very interesting property. If you go back and watch the cartoon, it's actually pretty entertaining. It holds up pretty well. And the voice cast alone was top notch. They had Roddy McDowell was on there, and a lot of other famous voice actors you'll probably know by name that I can't come up with right now. But the line had 1 year, and it was an interesting line because it was really a UK line. Bluebird Toys, who mostly famous for Polly Pocket, was who the root company for Captain Simeon.
Oh.
They partnered with Mattel, just like they did with Polly Pocket, in order to bring the line to the United States. And so the first year of toys made it out. They're really cool. And if you remember, if you've ever seen them, their packaging is really neat because they're on card, but they have their bubbles are round. And there's an inner, you can grasp the bubble and you can actually spin the figure around inside the bubble, so it makes it look like they're floating in space. It's really cool, especially for the time.
Yeah, I brought up some of the Google images here of the figures. I had forgotten all about this cartoon. I actually really liked this cartoon.
Yeah, it really is pretty good, and they did they had a whole second series ready to go, and really I got some really good access to the unproduced Captain Simeon stuff, both 2D and 3D material.
Nice.
And basically, it turned out that Mattel really didn't push it like they had promised that they were going to.
Mm-hmm.
And the story goes is that during Toy Fair, when they wrote in the contract that the Mattel had to put it at their booth in Toy Fair, and this was back when they did when Toy Fair was in the buildings, the toy buildings, not all at Javits. And so they basically, when one of the representatives went to Mattel's showroom to see the Captain Simeon display, it was basically just almost like locked in a side closet that it was behind a door that no one ever opened, and it was really
too bad.
Some interesting inner corporate politics going on there. Apparently.
Yeah.
They didn't really hype the line at all. There was no one there to talk about the line.
Somebody didn't like it, obviously.
Yeah, they kind of hit it at Toy Fair, and so it didn't really gain a lot of traction. But there's the big ship from that line is really awesome because it I forget what it's called, but it breaks into smaller ships, and it's a pretty huge.
The Sci-Fighter?
No, that's another. That's a standalone ship. I'm trying to remember I can find. I can probably find it. Actually, no, there's not going to be any picture of it in the book because it was produced.
I think that's it, Janie.
The all white one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's big and white, and it looks like it. The Simeon Cruiser or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It almost looks like the Fantastic Car, kind of.
It's so huge. Like, it's like I miss big vehicles and play sets so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were, but they had, like I said, they had a second year all planned for that one, and of course, once the initial toy line didn't gain traction, there was nothing. There was no place to put it.
Wow.
I miss big play sets and big vehicles, yet my wallet groans at the thought of this Super 7 Thunder tank. Right. I am going to get it, but it's like, I'm like, oh God.
So how do you feel about these newer companies tackling these older properties, Blake?
I think it's great when it's done right. I mean, I'm pretty good friends with Brian Flynn. I mean, I have my own Reaction Toxic Crusader exclusive action figure.
Nice. So indeed, nice. That's a limited pledge level that you can still grab on Kickstarter right now, right?
That was part of the Kickstarter for Volume 2, but I had leftovers, so I went ahead and if you were late to that party, you could also get it here with Volume 3. But that is a limited colorway that only I have.
Nice.
We were able to work that out because Brian is a saint, and he really believes in what I'm doing.
Nice.
I think anyone with a love of toys believes in what you're doing. Like, it's like,
again, if you watch the video on Kickstarter, we did a little funny thing where I'm talking and then I am interrupted by Brian Flynn, among other people. I mean, I love the fact that these companies can bring back things like the Thunder Tank, and yes, it's expensive, and yes, your wallet can groan about it all at once, but it's just, for some of these smaller companies, this is just the reality of where we are.
Well, I know, oh, go ahead.
No, it's just, I know some people don't like it, but there's just, would you rather live in a world without a Super 7 Thunder Tank or with a Super 7 Thunder Tank? And if it's the latter, then this is what has to happen in order to make that happen.
I know, like our co-host and fellow Toy Amigo Dario said a long time ago. He said it before any of this. He said it back, when Super 7 first got the license to do the Thundercats stuff. He said, there's not that many people out there that like Thundercats. There's no show, there's no movie, there's no nothing. Like, if Thundercats is your jam and you're a big fan, like you need to support this because it's on its last legs. Like there's not much left for it, and that really does apply to the Thunder Tank. And I know some people have their issues with it. Some people do say it's not cartoon accurate, it's not this, it's not that, but it's like if you want that scale of a Thunder Tank, like this is really your only chance to get it. Like honestly,
yeah. I mean, if it's not your thing or it is your thing, you just vote with your wallet, right?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Either buy it and love it, or stay away from it because it's not your thing. But a company like Super 7 actually needs to or has to do this sort of thing in order to figure out the critical mass numbers that are needed to move forward with a project of that size.
Right.
You should talk to Brian Flynn about, he's doing Toxic Crusaders. Maybe he can do a life-size prop replica mop.
Gosh, that's genius.
The mop, should we get the mop going?
Yeah. Bring us the mop, man.
Yeah. You know what? He would do it.
Yes, he would. I guarantee he would.
That's the thing, because he would do it.
If you brought it up to him, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, we could."
He desperately wants to do Krull figures.
Oh wow!
And when we discussed it early on, even in the video for my Kickstarter, this new one, he mentions Krull again. He really wants to do those. The problem with Krull is that no one knows who owns the rights to it.
Really?
That's hilarious.
They're just there was I can't remember exactly what happened, but there was, and Adam may know more about this than me, but there was some sort of mythical fire that occurred back in the day that apparently roasted a bunch of paperwork somewhere in a warehouse that apparently screwed up a bunch of movie rights, because anything pre-computers got lost in this mammoth blaze that exactly. And so you get a lot of people saying, well, we don't own the rights to that, or we don't have anything that says we own the rights to that. So it's almost to the point where you need to make it in order to bring out who's got the rights to it.
Yeah, to bring that person out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because it sounds like
bizarre.
It sounds like it's owned by a private property or private person. I guess that's not.
Yeah, I've even spoken on Facebook to the son of the guy that produced the movie.
Blake, do you know Phil Ramirez, the sculptor? Okay. Yeah. Phil is texting me right now. He used to work at Varner. He used to sculpt Toy Biz Marvel Legends. He's still a prolific sculptor now. He's texting me. He's obviously watching. Hey, Phil, how's it going? Get back to work on the Cursed Dead. But he's saying that Playmates actually did a light up mop that never got made. My very first sculpt was the Roxy head on the end of the stick. And then he sent me a link. He posted some pictures of the Toxie head sculpt. So he's trying to get in on the whole Toys That Time Forgot thing as well. So,
Phil had something to do with the mop, huh? That's awesome.
Yeah, Phil is more than welcome to join us sometime. Phil.
Trust me, I've asked, but he has a mouth like a sailor.
That'll be a heavy editing process on that one. Okay, so the Captain Simeon is your favorite from Volume 2.
Yeah, it's one of those lines. It's just it's kind of, that's one of those sadder stories where it really was a unique toy line, and for a unique cartoon that still holds up today, in my opinion. And I really wish that it had stronger legs than it did.
Yeah, that's too bad. And I mean, unfortunately, like with a majority or a lot of these figure lines and figures in your books, that seems to be like the story that, it's no money here, or, just things didn't work out, or.
Yeah, that's the thing about almost all the stories in the book, all in the same, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't get made. That's the punchline. It didn't get made. The path to them not getting made usually is where you find the meat of the tale that's interesting. But the punchline ends up being the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember as a kid, I was really into the Toy Biz X-Men line,
Mhm.
and they had.
Danny and his X-Men. Here we go. Hold
Hey,
on.
it's always got to go back. It's always got to go back. So, I remember when they came out with the Age of Apocalypse wave, and in that wave, in the back, they had showed a Gambit figure, and I remember hunting everywhere to find that Gambit because it was on the back of the packaging. It was in the display shop for the product and everything, and I couldn't find it. And finally, I read that in I think it was like Wizard or Toy Fair or something that it was on there, but it never ended up getting made. And later on, they did bring it out with
Yeah.
the Rogue figure, but
It was in a 2-pack with Rogue because
Yeah.
I own that figure.
yeah, but still, like the original,
Right.
the original wave, it was missing from the wave. And I remember always wondering like why that happened, I never understood.
Usually different reasons for something like that to happen. Sometimes maybe the factory was having problems with part of the tooling. I mean, there's a great story that from Jay Borman, who used to be part of Resource Toys out
Plan
of
B also.
Ohio. Yeah, Plan B afterwards, where he was in China when they were making their Crash Bandicoot figures. And the Bandicoot was actually on the line, and they were doing the heads going through this machine or whatever. And when they kept spitting them out, there were like burn marks on his nose
Oh no.
to where it was like, and the machine was like, it just kept spitting out these heads with these burns on his nose. And Jay was looking at the guy, the factory guy next to him, and the guy's looking at Jay like going, and he goes, well, stop it. Stop. He goes, stop the machine. And he's like, oh yeah, I can stop it. So they go and they're sitting there watching these heads pour out of this thing, all with these burnt noses. And the dude finally snaps, like, well, stop the machine.
Yeah. The shock finally wore off.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just one of those things, sometimes stuff gets pushed it could be cost. A lot of times it is cost, or it could be, something more mechanical in nature.
Well, I was well before Cheney got into his X-Men, because like that's like his thing, I was over here Mr. Burnsing because can we talk about a little bit about volume 3? I want you to tease. I know you're keeping secrets. We're doing great in the campaign. I backed it day one, guys. That's right. Day one backer. But everyone should go check out the campaign now. And then, Blake, I'd love to hear anything that you could say. I know this has got to be at least a kind of different experience for you past the previous volumes, because you are dealing with doing it over the course of the pandemic as well.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't travel at all for this one. Everything was done just like this, over a Zoom call or over the phone or what have you, which ordinarily would have been a problem. But because I had so much material left over from volume 1 and volume 2, I had a pretty big head start on volume 3, even before I made the first phone call. I had a lot of stuff in place already. But because I was fortunate enough to be able to, have enough people who vouch for me, as I was going out making new contacts. There was a lot of new people that I reached out to for the third book. And since it wasn't one of those things where I could go and physically be with them and sit, across from them and we have a nice chat. I found basically, when I could get someone to vouch for me, I would, ask them nicely that, hey, please, let this person know that I'm not a maniac or what have you. And then sometimes, it would come down to me, because I have a stack of volume 2s that are like have bad corners or whatever that I can't sell. So
mine is like that just from reading it.
Yeah. So So I would say, hey, this is me. And they would say, oh, and then I would send them a copy of the book and say, this is what I'm doing. And, a light would come on and they say, oh, okay, I get this.
Yeah.
I get what you're doing. And so that helped a great deal, opening a lot of doors for volume 3. And, like I said, this was my first book really getting hands-on with some stuff from LJN.
Nice.
Which, I really wanted LJN to be in some of the first books. I've been trying to get Tiger Sharks in since volume 1. Happy to report it will be in volume 3.
Yes. Tiger Sharks is a weird one for me.
Yeah.
As I interrupt you again, Blake, because that's the way I roll. But Tiger Sharks, like, I explicitly remember going to Toys R Us as a kid, like my mom bringing me there. I think it was like birthday or whatever. Like, I'm in Toys R Us and I saw Tiger Sharks on the shelves, but it was prior to me seeing the cartoon. So I was like looking at them, I was like checking them out, and I was like, these look pretty cool. Like, I was like into it. And then like my mom was like, all right, you pick one thing out, and like then we're getting out of here. And like I was like totally like, oh man, should I get one of these Tiger Sharks figures? And then I just couldn't figure out which one to get. So I ended up just bailing out and going back to like, my good old G.I. Joe or whatever, because like I bought every G.I. Joe figure known to man. So I ended up not getting it. And then I think like that weekend or something, I saw the cartoon for the first time and I was like kicking myself. I was like, why didn't I get Tiger Sharks?
Yeah, you're like, can we go back? Can we go back, please? Can we go back?
And they were they had that mechanism that was then used in like the Power Rangers figures with the head flip kind of thing. Yeah.
So that was a real neat line. That cartoon suffered from being part of that cartoon block that got pushed around, the comic strip, I think it was called. So it was Tiger Sharks and Street Frogs or whatever the frog rapping thing was, and a couple of other really forgettable cartoons, all wedged into this Saturday morning block. And it got moved around a lot, apparently time-wise. So you couldn't like sit down at 8:30 every morning and know that Tiger Sharks was coming on.
Yeah.
So the show was a victim of that. Among the facts that I think that it was, if I'm not mistaken, this was the production company was basically closing down at the time the cartoon was released. So, and it was it, I can't remember the company's name. Whoever did who was it that did the stop motion Christmas stuff? The Rudolph and
Rankin Bass.
Yeah, so it was Rankin. I think it was a Rankin Bass thing, and their production house was basically closing down in '87 when Tiger Sharks was being put out there. So
I don't think
it was just one of those things.
I don't think I caught on to it till later myself. Like, I remember I was like, whoa, what is this? Like, I'd never seen it before. I think it was after. It's the redheaded stepchild of the anthropomorphic trilogy that is Thundercats, Silverhawks, and Tiger Sharks. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was listening to Brian's interview, and he was talking about doing the Thundercats and how everybody was like, okay, cool, when are you going to do Silverhawks? And he's like, so we got through Thundercats, and now we're announcing Silverhawks. He's all, and the first question out of everyone's mouth is, all right, when are we getting Tiger Sharks?
When do you do Tiger Sharks? Yeah, I don't think that Tiger Sharks would merit a return at this point. I just don't think there's a big enough audience there.
Well, I mean, like I said before, like with Thundercats, it's become so small now, and then it's even smaller with Silverhawks, and then you could probably cut what Silverhawks is in half with Tiger Sharks.
Yeah,
and probably even more than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad too, because I thought it was pretty cool. Like I liked the toys, and I did watch multiple episodes of the cartoon. Like I tracked down the cartoon after learning about it, and it's like it interesting concept. Like, I don't know. I didn't hate it.
Oh no, I liked it. And what I really liked too is when they came out with that newer Thundercats cartoon that was on Cartoon Network. They referenced like that. Like they had like a screen where, they're showing like other things happening,
Other races and stuff.
And they showed
They showed Mako. Yeah.
And they also showed what's his name? Oh god, I can't remember his name, but the villain from Silverhawks.
T-Ray.
Yeah.
Oh no, Monstar.
Yes, Monstar. Yeah, they
from
showed
Silverhawks.
Yeah, and they had planned out like, okay, cool, we're going to keep rolling with it, and the show was good. The show had me. Like I have a friend who he's not into the toy stuff like I am. But he loves like his RoboCop, he loves his Terminator, he loves his Thundercats, a lot of his like old nostalgia stuff, and he'll go back and watch it. And he watched that show and he was like, dude, I really like that. And unfortunately, they shut it off because the toys weren't moving.
Yeah. It's important because that's where the money's made.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And they should pass that money along to the guys that make the toys. Sorry, did I come off as jaded?
No, not at all. Not even a little bit. Yeah. And I think too with that is like those were American Bandai, if I'm not mistaken. Those were
it did the Thundercats, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then there were some decent ones. They did multiple scales. I mean, I bought those because I apparently buy everything. Mm-hmm. LJN, didn't LJN also, you correct me if I'm wrong, Blake, but didn't they do the A-Team toys too back in the day?
That was Galoob.
That was Galoob. Okay.
Yeah.
I was reminiscing about those fondly the other day because we just did that Mr. T for Mattel that came out, the exclusive, and It's like, man, those old, like I want a perfect B.A. Baracus really bad. So what other teases do you got in store for us for volume 3? Anything else interesting? You got LJN.
Yeah, LJN's in there. There's actually 3 LJN lines in the book. I tease V on the Kickstarter, so that's one of them.
Nice.
Tiger Sharks is one of them, and then the third one no one's ever heard of, so I'm not gonna ruin that one.
Okay.
So right now, how the book is split up into the 3 separate.
Explain that. I know about that, but explain that you have like the comic book versions of the Silver Age and Gold.
Yeah. So the book is basically broken up into 3 subsections. It's loosely the 80s, 90s, and aughts, but I didn't want to call them that. So basically, it's broken. The 3 sections are called. The first one's called the Golden Age, which basically is your 1980s.
Mm-hmm. The dawn of action figures.
Yes.
Yeah, which can be hardly disputed as the Golden Age of action figures. The 1990s is called the Darker Times. Mainly because of the first half. Things got better towards the end of the 90s, but the first half of the 90s was pretty dreadful. And then the 2000s is called the Gilded Age, and that's mainly because of companies like Palisades and Soda and a lot of these smaller companies hitting their stride and bringing back a little bit of that that early 80s zest to the community, and
really showing the passion for
the products. And so loosely, we've kept to that. And as of right now, the book, volume 3, has 8 lines in each of those subsections. So you're talking 24.
Oh wow!
Different lines. I'm not promising that's the way it's going to end up because things are still changing.
Okay.
Because I just got an email out of the blue yesterday from an LJN contact that I've never met before. So
that's awesome.
So things could be moving in a different direction there.
And so what's the schedule on this? So the Kickstarter ends when? How
Kickstarter ends March the 12th, I think,
March
around
12th.
11:40 a.m. Central Time.
But you don't want to wait until then to order your copy. You want to get in there
No, please
right
don't.
now and
Because
order
we
it
haven't
right
funded
now.
yet, so we need to
And-
fund.
And you do have those, as we mentioned earlier, the limited pledge levels where you can get
Right.
Volume 2 and Volume 3 bundled together, or you can get the Toxic Crusader action figure bundled
Right.
together. Where
So
it's
we
like,
had-
those are limited.
Yeah, so we had the limited early bird sets, and those are gone.
I got one of those.
Yeah, we had the limited late to the. I kind of think I call it late to the after party, which is Volume 2 and Volume 3, and those are very close to being gone. And the Toxic Crusade, the action figure one, I left open-ended because I do have several of those still. I don't think it's going to be a problem doing those.
That's it. Now, chat migos, make Blake eat his words. Everyone order the one with the action figures. That way he scrambles.
That's right.
Go beg Brian Flynn for more.
to make more.
Maybe you can ask him to make
Thanks.
a mop for the next one.
Yeah, get a mop. The figure does come with a mop.
Nice.
So we've got eight chapters in each of the sections so far. I teased 3 chapters on the Kickstarter page. So that's V from LJN, Skeleton Warriors from Playmates,
Oh,
and Superman Lives from Hasbro.
oh, nice.
So a lot of folks, probably if you know the story of Superman Lives, then you'll know that it was a Tim Burton movie that was going to star Nicolas Cage
Yes.
as Superman. There's a great documentary put out by John Schnepp, may he rest in peace, a few years back about the death of Superman Lives. Basically, it's actually, I think you can watch it on YouTube, but it's really well done, and it gives you a glimpse of just how batshit. Oh, sorry. Just
You're
how
good.
crazy the Tim Burton Superman was going to look.
Because we saw pictures of
like we've seen pictures of Nicolas Cage in the costume and
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
So it's like, I'm in the toy industry. I should have known better. Of course they were developing toys already for it.
Sure.
But it's like,
Sure. I mean,
I didn't even think about
Yeah,
that. Like,
so
that's going to be a cool chapter.
yeah, so that film was under development for almost a year and a half. So, initially there was a script. The script that started the ball rolling for real was done by Kevin Smith. He did his treatment of it, and then basically Tim Burton and Nicolas Cage came on board the project. Burton didn't like Smith's script, so he jettisoned it for his own, so he could do his own thing. But that initial script was what was given to Hasbro early on to actually start the process of, drawing up concepts and sculpting some of this stuff. And there's been one figure, I think, that's gone around that was in Tomarts that was said to have been from the movie. That's him. I think it's like a 4 or 5 inch scale. He's in like this mechanical looking suit. And that is indeed from the film, but there are others that no one has ever seen.
Wow.
Awesome.
There's a ton of art that no one's ever seen.
Wow.
So cool.
So I'm pretty excited about that chapter because it's going to be one of the longer chapters in the book because we got so much information about it. And if you know enough about the Kevin Smith script, you probably won't be surprised by the characters they chose to pursue as toys. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Cool.
I will also
What-
say,
can you hint? Did you say it already, or can you tease like what company was it that was working on the toys? Or
it
you
was
keep that-
Hasbro.
He said it was.
It was
Hasbro.
It was Hasbro. Okay.
Yeah. So it was like, and if you go back and you do the math and you line things up, this would have actually been the very first Superman toy line that would have been based on a Superman movie. Because to date, there was not a specific Superman toy line to go with any Superman movie.
With any of the wow, you know what? Now that you think it's like, yeah, of course, I had tons of Superman action figures growing up, but they were all, it was like Mego or like
Superpowers.
Most of them were just Mego because they had Mego, and then the small Mego, the 3 3/4 inch Mego, are the two Supermans that I had most of my life, and then Superpowers. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So it was never, I think Mego did the dolls that looked like Marlon Brando and looked like, but it was never officially licensed as Superman the movie stuff. It was just generic, Superman stuff. And it only became later that you got, but there was never just, a Superman. The last Superman figure before you start talking about Superman Lives was probably the Kenner Superpowers Superman, which would have been 10 years previous or over 10 years previous.
Well, what did they had what was it? Toy Biz had that line where they used a lot of the Kenner stuff, and they kind of redid that mold and whatnot in the 90s because they had, no, it wasn't Kenner. Yeah, it was Toy Biz. Yeah, it was Toy Biz that had...
Toy Biz reused old Superpowers figures to make DC stuff.
Yeah, and then they had put out the figures for 89 Batman, and then after that, the DC stuff all went back to Kenner. But yeah, that was the only one I think I can remember before Superpowers. I mean, after Superpowers, in between where, Superman Lives and Superpowers would be.
Yeah, and then it was animated stuff. That's it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Beyond that, I'm trying to think of what else. I think the other hint that I've kind of laid out there was that the very first chapter in the book and the very last chapter of the book are serendipitously from the same genre.
Okay.
Not much of a hint, but that's I thought I was amused by that. Once I set it all up, I went, "Hey, that's kind of funny."
Yeah.
It's like bookend.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that work to try and do that, and you're all, oh, okay.
And I was just totally and I'll say this.
That's pure luck.
Yeah,
and I'll say this too because I think I've already said this. The very first line in the book is from 1980.
Okay.
The last line in the book is from 2013.
All right. So I now see, now you have me. So it's like, I want to guess and stuff. So are either of the lines that existed and had toys released, or are they one of those lines where it's like nothing got released?
You
cover both.
Yeah. They are both lines that had stuff released.
Oh, okay. So there's stuff that we should generally be familiar with. It's just stuff that was unreleased from lines that we're familiar with.
Right.
Huh.
Okay, so...
Is it fantasy?
He's not going to tell you.
It is not fantasy. I'll say
All right.
Outer space. You don't have to...
It is not fantasy. I will say that.
All right.
I'm just digging.
Yep.
I know you are.
Hey, that's the way I roll. I'm sorry, Blake. I love you.
Impatient Adam. So how much farther do we have to go to make sure we're funded here?
We're over 85%, right?
We're about 85% there. It's right at $30,000, a little over $30,000.
Okay.
The goal's 35. So, but there are stretch goals to unlock additional bonus chapters that I would love to at least hit one or two of those. And
so we have just for just the book is 60, right?
Yeah. So the book is $60. Plus I think it's $10 shipping in the US. Outside of the US, unfortunately, it cost a mint to ship that thing.
It's a big boy.
Yeah. So the box with the book in it weighs about 4 pounds. And to ship it to a place like the UK right now, unfortunately, will cost you as much as the book itself.
What about Australia?
Australia, Australia, it'll cost about $75 to ship it to Australia.
One of the other nerdy book things that I love about it is it has the little
super bookmark ribbon.
Yeah, bookmarks. So that way you don't have to lose your spot.
That's right. So hey man, you fly Air Blake, you fly first class,
So 85 gets you the book and the exclusive Toxie figure, right?
Right. And the Toxie is really cool because if you look at the picture on the actual Kickstarter, we didn't do it carded. We actually did it in a mailer box. Something like you would have done.
Okay.
Like you would have seen back in the Kenner days when you're mailing away for stuff. And there's an address label on there that's actually addressed to Melvin Ferd, who is the character's name from the movie. 1984 Newcomb Road, Tromaville, New Jersey.
Nice.
So we went all out. It was really cool. Brian and I worked on that one together because I really didn't want it to be on a card because I knew I would have to deal with a lot of damaged packaging that way. Especially if I was shipping them overseas.
Next time you talk to Brian, you'll have to tell him to come over here and hang out with us sometime.
I'm sure he would.
Yeah.
Brian's a cool.
It's not like we know anyone else that knows him, Cheney. Jeez. But okay.
Yeah.
Blake, you do it. It's on you.
No, I'll do it.
So the next step up is the deluxe set, right? And that's for 100.
Right. And this is the first time we've done this. So we added some general, knick-knacky kind of stuff. We're going to do I Love Unproduced Toys enamel pin, which that design was done by me and Sam Wells, who runs Toy de Jour out of Chicago, which is a neat little vintage toy store. And there's also going to be a keychain, a rubber keychain that's that I Heart Unproduced Toys deal. There's a Return of the Jedi themed Toys That Time Forgot Volume 3 logo sticker.
Nice.
And we're also going to do a pack of 6 trading cards, which the design on those isn't finalized yet. I'm still working on getting the right look for those.
Okay.
Because I'm struggling between making them all look like they were vintage versus having some of the more modern stuff look more modern and having the vintage stuff look more vintage. And I just haven't really settled on a good direction for that yet, but I've got a little bit of time, so we will get that straightened out.
I opt for vintage, sir.
That's where I'm leaning to.
Yeah,
truthfully, just to make them look.
The wax pack that Mezco just recently did with their Doc Nocturnal figures.
I love those.
I haven't seen that.
Oh,
do you have that?
Let me go
I'll
grab
send you some pictures.
Show me some pictures.
Or Cheney will just get them right now.
Well, it was funny because literally right before we got you on, my wife had picked up that pack and she was like, "What are you gonna do with these?" And I'm like,
"Listen, woman, you let me collect my trading cards."
Yeah. Well, I don't buy that many cards anymore. I'm not 12.
It's anymore. Great because they did the old school wax pack style.
I looked into doing that. That is not cheap.
You pay for it with Mezco like that. Yeah. The Dog Nocturnal figure was, I think that figure was over $100. So it was not cheap. And that's Mezco's own intellectual property too. So it's we were certainly paying for that wax pack for sure.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Let me switch back to camera view here.
Oh, hold on. I'll put my shirt back on.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the wax pack.
That's cool. Yeah. That's very cool.
It's kind of resealable too, right? A little bit.
Yeah. It kind of flaps open here and I haven't even opened it yet.
Oh, really?
No.
It's good. All the cards have obviously art on them and then further story stuff on Doc Nocturnal. So I loved it. It was a great little include. I appreciate that more than the t-shirts that I'm never going to wear.
I really do. I agree with you on that. I liked it so much and it was such a awesome throwback that I still haven't opened them. and they've just been kind of like sitting. And like I said, my wife was like, "What are you going to do with these?" I'm like, I like them.
Maybe if Mezco had wide neck T-shirts, I would actually wear the ones that they package with their action figures.
Never happened. All right, let's go ahead and continue here. So we had the next one, and that is the 110 late to the after party. So this one you're going to get volume 2 and 3, correct?
Right.
Okay. And then the next one is 120. And this one gets...
That's 2 for the show, I think.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So you get 2 copies of volume 2 or volume 3.
So that
Nice.
you can gift one.
Right.
Which would be a very nice gift. Like, honestly, guys, like the quality of these books are top notch. So it's like, this is one that, while you may be, and this is going to sound bad and everyone's going to hate me as usual, but like you may be embarrassed by your action figure collection, and it's like, oh, I'm going to keep these in the other room. This is a book where it's like non-action figure fans can even appreciate it. The artwork that's in it, the photographs of the sculptures, and it's like, oh, these are unproduced toys. Like, people that are not into toys can get into this because it's really cool and it's a beautifully done book.
Thank you, Adam.
Sorry, I'm shilling for you.
Keep up the good work, my friend.
So then the next one is 160, and you get the book and a Superman Lives art print.
Yeah, so that's the Doomsday Print. So the way this worked is that I was in contact with the lead designer on that line for Hasbro, and I had a photo. I had some art that was shared with me from the line that that showed Doomsday, and I reached out to the artist once I found him, and I said, "Hey, is this your work?" And he's like, "Yeah, it is actually." And when it came down to me wanting to do an art print, because we've done one for the last 2 Kickstarters, I was like, "Would you object to me, using this as a print for the Kickstarter?" He goes, "Oh man, that's really not my best work." He goes, "Can I draw you something now, and then you can use it?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, if you want to."
That's awesome.
So he actually drew out a full bodied Doomsday as basically as it was envisioned in the movie back then, but the drawing is a current drawing. He drew it in 2020, but it's coming from the guy who was the lead on the project for Hasbro. So
wow.
I'm using his new drawing as the art print for the Superman Lives level. It is an awesome drawing. He did a really good job. It's an awesome drawing.
Now I'm regretting that I backed it for the early bird, and it's like all this other cool stuff. Like, geez, thanks, Blake. I need to upgrade my pledge or something.
Not my fault, man.
And then you have the retailer pledge, and that is to get 6 copies of the book. Ideally, you want everyone to get that one, right?
Well, I mean, it's sure, but it's this, that's the steepest discount. It's more of a wholesale type situation for, area comic book shops or gift shops or anybody who wanted to.
Cheney, if we had backed that, since you're not that far away from me, we could have Ernie could have had one, you could have had one, I could have had one, and we could have split the shipping costs, and then we could have each had an extra one to gift people.
Yes.
What were we thinking? This is what we should do.
Right.
It's actually a good out for people who are overseas, because the shipping, while shipping one book costs $70, but shipping 2 books doesn't cost $140. It costs, 85.
Oh, that's
with your overseas friends.
So if you have a bunch of friends and you're over in the UK or whatever, then you go for that one. it'll cost you more like, maybe it's $100 to ship that size book or whatever, but you just chop your shipping, per book price, by, into a fraction of what it would.
And you divvy that up with your imaginary friends that you don't have because you're a toy collector.
I just wanted to address something real quick
dark.
here.
I went dark.
I wanted to address something real quick. The Hound and Jesse Lewis. I'm sorry. I don't know what Ronald did. He doesn't know what he did. Maybe he just got way too drunk on his moderator power.
He deleted all of their comments just for those two guys.
And he timed them out.
Yeah.
So
he was like, nope, you guys don't get to play anymore.
Yeah.
It's like those guys are both sweethearts too. The Wrestling Hound and Jesse
Lewis.
Every show, they're always here.
Yep.
Really good guys. And it's like, nope, he's just like banned.
Yeah. So apparently he's had one too many chiladas and he's blasted on his power right now. So I apologize to Jesse, and I apologize to the Wrestling Hound. He said
we still love you both.
Oh yes, exponential amounts of love here. I just he said he doesn't know what happened, and then we have Urban Spidey who's like, "What's going on here?" So I wanted to address that real quick, just in case I wasn't able, because Jesse already wrote me and was like, "Dude, what did I do? I'm sorry," because he's such a sweetheart, and I'm like, "No, you're good." Ronald,
why did you ban me?
Yeah, what did I do wrong? Yeah. So I just wanted to address that real quick. Sorry.
This is how we keep the chat migos around.
Yeah. Yeah, we ban them.
Spanking every once in a while.
Hey, you watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
Nice.
All right. And then the last one we have here is the 55 or more.
Well, that was the early bird.
Okay, yeah. It says reward.
Yeah. That was the one that I got. And you guys all slept on. Ha ha ha.
Okay.
But although
I do like to, you've got the stock on this of like how many are left and whatnot. So you guys definitely, get over here.
Yeah, there's
pledge to this.
What is it? 20 days left of the campaign. But don't wait until the last minute. Everyone waits the last minute in Kickstarters, and that sucks. The whole point of Kickstarters is like not to sit and wait until the end. It's to get it funded so that way you can build on those funds and start to add these extra, like the stretch goals, and then it's what you want, what we all want. And it's like, here's the deal. What you pay isn't going to change. You're going to bid what you like. You put your pledge in now, whatever that is, whatever level it is. And as the stretch goals are hit by more people pledging, you get more for that money that you put in. Right. Like, you're not putting in extra money. You get extra stuff, guys. So it's so crazy to me, that Kickstarter mindset of waiting to the end, because not only is that the case where you want the stretch goals to hit so that way you get more value for your money, but Kickstarter doesn't charge you until the end of the campaign anyway. So it's like, by you bidding on putting a pledge in on day one, you're not getting charged on day one. You're getting charged on the last day anyway. No matter what, you get charged at the end. So don't rest on your laurels. Go get back things that you like. Like if you're in this, throw your dollars at it now, because it's virtual dollars until the campaign ends. Sorry, I get a little bit passionate about this kind of stuff, having gone through it before.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, it's for sure. And if we don't reach the goal, then you don't get charged, and there is no book. So,
well, I can say with 20 days to go and where you're at,
we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I highly doubt. And usually you get that flux of people that like to wait till the last minute anyway.
Well, because there's that mechanism on Kickstarter where you can click to remind you within 48 hours of the thing closing. So, you go by, you see one you like, you click that little thing, you move on, because you'll get an email 2 days before it's over to remind you to go in there and bid or pledge if you're going to.
Or just guilty of that right now.
I'm guilty of that on occasion.
It happens.
But you'll also see that I have backed 57 Kickstarters in my day. So I'm not just a
wonder how many
user
I
of the platform.
Oh, what can we get a couple
an
highlights
exploiter.
of that?
I'm not an
Man,
exploiter of the platform.
you ran circles around me. I've only backed 22. I thought
Yeah,
I
so
did a
I've-
lot. I backed 22 campaigns.
Yeah, so I think I'm at 57. I'm not, or somewhere in there, for sure. So I've backed some animated movies. I've backed a few books myself. Some documentaries. I was big on backing documentaries, like The Power of Grayskull, which was the He-Man documentary that came out a few years back. There was a guy doing a documentary on Kurt Vonnegut, who's one of my favorite authors. Backed that one. Some of the G.I. Joe books done by Dan Klingensmith, I backed. Some action figure ones, Amazing Heroes, that's Bill Murphy's thing. I backed those. Vitruvian, the very first Vitruvian Hacks, the boss fight.
Boss fight, yeah.
Legends of Cthulhu, the Warpo line.
Warpo, and Warpo's
which
in
is
volume 2.
Which is in volume 2. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. You're a saint for doing this, because like if we went through mine, there's some embarrassing, really not toy related ones that I've backed.
Yeah, I'm skipping over those.
Yeah, you're skipping over those Adam suggested ones.
Yeah. So I Am Elemental, which was the girl action figure thing.
Oh yes,
back that from back in the day. A few other books. The Four Horsemen. The Gothotropolis Ravens, the birds that they did.
Yeah,
those were rad.
Yeah, that's ways back for sure.
Yeah, it's a ways back.
Did you are you getting in on any of those newer waves? Not the video game
Mythic
ones,
Legion?
but the Athelia, is that what it is? The Athelia wave?
The Mythic Legion stuff. I didn't get into Mythic Legions because I knew that once I did, that was going to cost me a lot of money.
It is. It's like
and I don't really have a lot of space to display a lot of stuff, so it would not be. I mean, they would sit in a box, and it just wouldn't.
Yeah,
that's no place for those things because they're gorgeous.
So what kind of stuff are you picking up right now? If you're picking up any, like, because I know you said you buy some stuff and then let it go, and
yeah. So current stuff out there, I am buying. Select Star Wars Black Series stuff, mainly Mandalorian related, because I got hooked into that just like almost everybody else.
So good.
So good. Yeah, I am buying G.I. Joe Classified, but I'm only buying the Cobra stuff.
Okay.
Not buying the
wait,
heroes.
How are you buying those? Are you finding them?
I found Firefly. I found Firefly about 2 weeks ago, but I haven't found Viper at all.
I have to rely on Chatmigos helping me to get any of those toys. In LA, no chance.
Yeah,
I was very lucky to find the Baroness and the bike at a nearby Target when that was that was starting to go away. I actually found one.
Cheney and Ernie have a story about the Baroness and almost getting in a fist fight with people over it.
Not me.
So yeah, there's that.
Not me. Yeah, and then plus we had waited.
We were there.
Yeah, we waited 2 hours for them to get to bring it out. This guy here, I waited about an hour for to get my hands on, and I still just like I don't know, like after going through all that, like having it in hand, I'm like it just kind of like. It kind of like soils the figure a little bit because I literally had to like me and the other guys that were there, we had to go back and forth with the employee, and she's like trying to get us out of there by any means. And it's just like, we just want to buy these toys. Like we're not even trying to flip them or anything. Like we just want the figures, you know?
So my oddest current collecting thing is that because Brian has been really good to me and I love the stuff Super 7's doing, but again, the proposal of going all in on these ultimates is just too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I am buying whatever he does in ultimates that's glow in the dark.
Oh, so you got the Mum-Ra then.
So I have Mum-Ra, I have Baxter Stockman,
Nice.
and I actually have the regular Toxie that I want to trade for the glow in the dark one.
Did you tell him that? Say, Brian, trade me.
Well, yeah, he doesn't have any more. He did assist with the Baxter Stockman thing because I kind of missed the boat on that one, and he pointed me in the right direction to find one.
That's awesome.
And those will be I think those are the only 3 so far he's done in glow in the dark. So,
Jesse Lewis, one of our Chatmigos here, he says he had no problem winning Baroness. He won Baroness.
Cheney
on the
gave
show.
away a Baroness on the show, like just free giveaway during the course of the show, which was madness.
That's
It
awesome.
was
Yeah.
So that's basically what I
led to a
got.
very controversial giveaway.
That's basically rounds out what I'm buying currently.
Okay, cool.
You know, there's nothing else really out there. I got tempted by like the Masters Origin stuff and a few other things, but mainly it's Mandalorian based Black Series. Yeah, Mandalorian based Black Series stuff. The Joe Cobra stuff, and then.
Do you have a $200 Cara Dune right now?
I do.
You know what? I back when there was such a thing as going to toy shows. Is that Vernon?
Yeah.
Creepy Vernon.
So back when there was such a thing as a toy show, I would set up locally every once in a while to help sell some books. And what I would do sometimes is I would go out and purchase a few hot toys, you know, just to have on the table so it attract attention and say, oh, by the way, I write these books in case the book didn't do the job itself. And I looked in the closet the other day in the box that I have, you know, the stuff that didn't sell from past toy shows, and I have 3 Black Series Cara Dunes.
Oh my
sitting
gosh!
in there.
Yeah. There you go, dude.
And I'm
You
like,
can sell those, and you can back your own Kickstarter campaign.
that's right. So
Well,
am I the asshole that sells them for $150 a piece, or
no, they're going for over 2 right now. You're sitting on $600 a Cara Dune, man.
Yeah, well, I need to know that. Thanks.
I wanted to show off this wonderful Sabretooth, or quote unquote Sabretooth head sculpt here from the Sculptor Shelf artist that is
the mystery that is the Sculpt Shelf.
Yes.
It's certainly not I know and I work with.
Nope, not at all. Nope, not even close.
Nope.
There is a review on our channel. We also have reviews up for 3 of the House of X Powers of X figures so far.
You got
Wolverine.
you posted Wolverine,
Magneto and Omega Sentinel,
and then yeah.
The rest are coming though. I guarantee it. Just hang in there. I'm having fun with it actually. I'm taking my time. So,
do you have this yet, Cheney? Did you get yours?
Good thing is I got the heads on but my one of the many cases that I ordered is on its way, so I'm excited for that. I'm excited, if you will. Yes.
I just love how Evangelion this thing is, with 3 heads.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure to put all your information and the links and everything in the description for the video. So if you guys want to, you can hit the links there, go back this thing, you know, let's make sure that we get this book made. We don't want the book to be, you know, volume 3 to end up being, you know,
the book that time forgot.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, let's not do that.
Yeah, not at all. I want to thank you so much for taking out the time to sit here and, talk toys with us and talk about your books and deal with Adam mostly.
Yeah. Maybe Van Wickler will finally leave me the hell alone.
Possibly. That's not a guarantee. That's,
Once volume 1 gets reprinted and once volume 3 arrives,
don't
then
believe him.
maybe I'll back off a little bit.
No, he's going to be,
You got a
volume
few
4?
months. Though.
Yeah, he's going to be like, where's volume 4? Where's volume 4?
Right. That's, that was exactly what happened when volume 1 came out. The first thing I, barely had a chance to read it. And where's volume 2? Where's volume 2? Where's volume 2?
Yep.
Where's volume 3? Where's volume 3? So,
well, yeah. Well, that's a good thing. It's a good problem to have, though. That means people enjoy it. And, I will definitely be ordering myself because I want these. I think even my father would enjoy reading these. It's one thing that we do, kind of like share is like, stories like this. A lot of it is the story, the adventure behind it, the reasoning of what happened and whatnot. So, I'm definitely moving forward going to be, we got to make sure that you get this thing funded, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been quite a 6-year trip for me, putting these together. And I wouldn't take a minute of it back. It's been a hell of a ride, and made a lot of friends along the way, and was able to strengthen some other relationships with people who were just acquaintances. So yeah, I mean, it was really awesome, and I'm just glad that these books have been as well received as they've been. And as a first-time author, but long-time journalist, it was really it was a very humbling experience, and I just hope that volume 3 lives up to the 2 that are already out there. I think it does.
All right, awesome. All right, so where can we reach you?
Yeah, so most of my social media revolves around Facebook for the most part. So the book has a Facebook page, facebook.com/Toys That Time Forgot. There's also an Instagram page for it. That's at Toys That Time Forgot, all run together. If you're a Twitter person, you can find me at Blake_E_Wright. And yeah, that about rounds it out as far as
I like if media. You're a Twitter person, it's totally true.
Well,
Twitter
I really don't. Yeah, I don't really do Twitter a lot. I'm actually on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I'm in that same boat. I go on there and I'm like,
yeah, I'm on Twitter now because I'm actually doing this little animation thing on the side, yet another side project that I'm trying to get off the ground, and a lot of animation folks hang out on Twitter. So I'm on Twitter.
There you go. Yeah. And Adam, where can we find you, sir?
I'm playing with myself.
Okay.
Just about everywhere.
I'm Cheney180. You could follow me, Cheney180 on Instagram. Adam, why don't you go ahead and take us on home, sir?
Oh, I don't know. Come on. You're doing this on purpose because I don't know how to do it. Go join the Toy Amigos Facebook page and the Facebook group. Those are two different things, guys. It's two different areas of Facebook that you can enjoy Toy Amigos.
Yes.
But the important place is the Toy Amigo Discord. Our awesome moderator, Urban Spidey. Not Berserk. He's not the awesome moderator. He's the questionable moderator. He dropped a link too, but go check out the link. The link is in the chat. Discord is like a great little like message board kind of chat room that's all hours of the day. It's always popping in there. Mm-hmm. Guys are always talking about toys, and I'm always talking about inappropriate stuff. It's great. It's one of my favorite social media areas these days. Like it's just fun nonsense talking with like-minded crazy individuals. So go check that out for sure. You can follow Ernie at the Fallen Fett and something Disney.
How we do
you
Disney. Yeah, how we do
how
Disney.
he does Disney. He does Disney.
Yep.
The one and only Dario, 80s baby. Give him a follow. Obviously, the Toy Migos account and our very own Cheney 180. I also am doing 2 little projects, Cursed Dead, Mortal Ruin. You can go give those a follow. I promise there will be updates someday.
And a new podcast, right?
Oh, there is. There's that. I'm doing a podcast with Dave Vonner and Richard Mayrick from the Netflix Toys That Made Us. It's going to be called For the Culture. It just got announced on Deadline today. I have no idea when it's coming out. I know it like literally they don't tell me anything. So it got announced. So yeah, there's a thing there.
Awesome.
And then Toy Migos. Ha-ha!
Yeah, toymigos.com, Toy Migos Twitter, Toy Migos Instagram, Facebook, Discord. I want to give a huge shout out to Lago Fix. He is helping us out with a few other things now. So he has become a member of the team, if you will. So
he's graduated from Chat Migo to Toy Migo status.
Yes. So give him a huge shout out. Thank you so much. And we got more reviews coming. I'm going to finish this House of X, Powers of X wave. Thank you guys so much for all the awesome comments and likes and shares. I really appreciate it. But lastly, thank you again, Blake, for taking the time out to hang out with us tonight. You're more than welcome to come back whenever you want, sir. We would love to have you back. I would love to have you back with Ernie because I think Ernie would love to pick your brain. He's another one that just loves the hunt, man. He loves the hunt.
He would love this Star Wars chapter with the Playmate stuff for sure. And then remember like a minute ago when I said Urban Spidey was the best moderator? He's not anymore. So that's
okay.
Because he says he misses Ernie's. You know
what?
You know what? You're Spidey number 2, Adam. He missed Ernie's outros.
Yeah.
He was making fun of my outro already.
All right.
Immediately.
With that being said, I'm Cheney 180.
I'm playing with myself. And this is Blake.
I'm Blake Wright.
There you go.
He has a real name.
Yes. And remember, guys, they're not dolls.
Plus Ultra.